For the Haters presents Wallet Therapy. I'm Becky, the spender.
And I'm Alex, the coach. We give money advice for the everyday person. So join us with your budget and your baggage because money doesn't have to be messy forever. Search For the Haters and subscribe today.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Wallet Therapy. It is Becky, your co-host, and Alex, hello.
Hello.
How are we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I did have to spend some money out of my emergency fund. Had a little bit of a mouse issue inside of my car. And there was a dead mouse family just behind the dashboard with maggots in it. And so I had to get my oil changed too, which was expected, but it was like almost $400 to get everything cleaned out, and the car still smells like dead rodent. So good thing I've been saving.
Doesn't it feel good to have money to pay that emergency instead of having to put it on a credit card?
It sure does. I need new tires, but I think I'm going to hold off another month. They quoted me $1,200 for new tires. So life just keeps on
lifing.
Yeah. The world keeps going round and things still need to be spent. Okay. Before we jump into today's episode, I feel like we need to zoom out for a second because we've been building on each episode and I want to make sure that people understand where this conversation actually fits into it. Do you want to give like an overview of where it fits in?
Yeah. Think of all of the topics that we're talking about. This is your financial journey as a step-by-step path. It's not something you have to figure out all at once, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. I think that can be really overwhelming for people, and why they don't take that first step is that it seems like so much. As we've been talking about each of these topics, we're putting it in little bite-sized actions that people can take depending on where they are in their money journey. We first talked about number 1, which was setting a spending plan. Number 2 was putting a system in place to follow that plan. Number 3 was building a starter emergency fund. And then the last topic we talked about was tackling high interest debt. Today's topic is going to be about taking advantage of an employer 401k match. Now, these steps are not always perfectly linear. For some people, depending on how high their interest rate is, how much debt they have, 4 and 5, you can switch. I would not be mad if somebody wanted to switch today's topic with number 4, because maybe they have more high interest debt and it's going to take longer and they want to take advantage of the employer match first. I think that's totally feasible. Or if you're someone out there that's not ready to tackle your high interest debt, you may skip that step for right now and move to this one, because not leaving free money on the table is an important part of this topic today. And if you're not interested in tackling the monster of debt right now, at least do this, because you need to take advantage of the free money.
This is one of those first steps that we actually start thinking about the future of our money and not just building and surviving financially. Mm-hmm. So we're setting up something, and understandably that maybe not everyone has access to a 401k, which we will get into other conversations. But I think that this is really important to talk about because not a lot of people fully understand, 1, what it means to do, and 2, how to do it properly so that it's building right.
Exactly. This is where your money starts working for you. And we're going to break it down in today's episode.
So historically, I think that I never really did this right until Alex started taking over my 401k. I never contributed enough where I was getting the match that my employers, I think I was just contributing 2% or 3%, maybe even lower than that. But I know now I'm definitely contributing more so that I get that full. I think it probably depends on where you're at too, right? Some people can go in and contribute 10% based on just what they need and what they like, what kind of free money that they have. Not free money, just like above
The match.
the max. Yeah. What is that first set of rules, right? When we're talking about what to do, what's the proper amount that we should be contributing?
This is actually one of the most common financial mistakes, and it's not because people are careless. It's because no one explains it clearly. Your employer match is part of your compensation. Not taking it is leaving part of your paycheck behind. If you're out there and you are not getting the full match today, you are leaving money on the table.
What is the most common? Is there a number that typically employers match with? I feel like I've seen between 3 and 4% quite often.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate. I've seen anything from 3 all the way up to 10%. I've seen 100% of that percentage or 50% of that percentage. There's definitely an array of contributions.
We don't want to think of this as optional, at least from the fact of leaving free money on the table.
Exactly. Before you're pulling out your Robinhood app, before anything else when it comes to putting money in the stock market, I would say this is step one, because again, there is free money that if you're not contributing, you're just leaving on the table.
Can you explain this like I'm 5? Because when I hear 3% match or 50% match, not clicking.
And I think that's pretty common too. And it may be why some people just don't opt in. So let's break it down. What is a match? The match is your employer contributes money based on what you contribute. A common example would be if your employer matches 100% of the first 3%, that's an instant 100% return if you contribute 3%. Another example would be a partial match. If they contribute 50% of 6%, means you put in 6% and they put in 3%. The goal is always to contribute at least enough to get the full match. This is the only place you'll get a guaranteed return on your money.
If you are listening, the goal right away is not maxing out what percentage that you can, because there is a max that you can invest in 401k. It is just hitting that match first.
Exactly. Yes. We are not talking about maxing out. This is your baseline, not your end goal. And we will talk about end goal at a later episode, but we're not talking about that today. And that wouldn't even fit in this part of the financial journey. There are other steps to complete first before you actually fully max out your 401k. Now, I say that if you're somebody on the call today, or if you're somebody listening today, do not go and decrease your contribution if you're contributing more than what the match is, because some people just aren't saving anywhere else. Maybe you don't have an emergency fund. If this system is already working for you and you're already putting money away, do not go decrease it. Just keep what you have.
If I were a betting man, which I am, I would think that a lot of the reason, and this is why I didn't put more contributed towards my 401k, was it's less money that comes out of my paycheck. So I feel like I'm making less money. I have less to spend. Can I afford for that to be able to be taken out?
Yes, this is very common, and I like to think of it as like the paycheck illusion too, because if you won't feel the full impact because traditional 401k contributions are pre-tax. So you might contribute $100, but your paycheck only drops 70 or 80, depending on taxes. And if that even seems not feasible, if your employer match is 5%, 6%, and you're like, there's no way I can do that right now, start small. Start with 1%. Because if you contribute 1%, they will contribute 1%. So you are still getting some free money. And then I would suggest just putting an automation in place that increases it. So in many 401ks, when you set it up, you can set what's called an auto increase, and you can set that to be annually. So next year, all of a sudden you go from 1% to 2%. And then before you even know it, you'll be at the employer match. Oftentimes, an annual increase is a smart idea anyway, because if you're getting annual raises, this happens at the same time, and then you're not feeling the effects as much from your paycheck.
And there is a cap, right? There is a cap that at some point you will, it's not like you're eventually going to
Yeah.
put in the 100% of your paycheck.
No, the cap this year, and it changes every year. This year for 2026 is $24,500 is the max you can contribute to a 401k. For people that are over 50, there's an extra catch-up contribution that's $8,000. So they can do the 24,500 plus the 8 to help catch up. And we can talk about that too when we get to that topic of maxing out your 401k.
So this feels doable, right? It's like easing into it instead of just flipping a switch, like just starting at some sort of percentage, especially if you, I know that we keep saying this, but like if you are not contributing to your 401k and your employer matches at all, you are losing free money.
Yes. Yeah. What is actually nice, there was a law put in place that now for new, depending on the size of the company, it's not all companies, but it will actually auto opt you in to contribute to your 401k. Because I'm sure I've definitely done it before. I'm sure you've done it before, where you get a new job, you sign all the employee paperwork. You're just like, yes, yes, sign me up, get me the job, give me my paycheck. And before this law went into place, you would have to actually opt in to the retirement contributions. Now it's an opt out. So if you don't specifically say, I do not want to do this, it automatically opts you in. And I think that's huge for so many people all over the country that have this happening to them, because they're starting at a new job with automatically taking advantage of this employer match. And they don't even know it, which sometimes is the best way.
I wonder who pushed for that law. And where did that come? Because you're so right. During that frustration of enrolling in benefits, trying to understand what you need, what you want, they throw this in there as well. But I'm pretty sure you can adjust your percentage throughout the year. It's not like you can't adjust it at any point.
Yeah, absolutely. For most, you can change it, if not all. You can change it anytime. Usually you'll get a login from your employer and you can go in and change the contribution and see activity. And it's usually pretty easy. It'll hit by the next paycheck.
So we go through enrollment. We now have our nice little 401k set up, but then it asks where to put the money. And that becomes even more overwhelming. That's where my switch has turned off, right? I never know what to do. I don't even know where to start. How do people avoid just not picking something random? Is there just a safe bet of what can be chosen?
Yeah. I wouldn't put safe bet and stock market in the same sentence, but I would recommend There are great funds nowadays. They're called target date retirement funds. And essentially, it is easy investing for beginners because what you do is you calculate the year that you are expecting to retire, and you will find a fund. It'll be called the 2050 fund or the 2060 fund or the 2045 fund. And essentially, you will pick that one fund to put all your money in. And that fund usually has a mix of US stocks and international stocks and bonds. And it will actually change the percentage of stocks and bonds as you age, because that is something that is recommended, that as you get closer to retirement, maybe you start out with 100 or 90% stocks, and by the time you retire, you want somewhere between 60 and 75 in stocks and the rest in bonds. And so that target date fund, it's a set it and a forget it. You don't have to touch anything, and we'll do all those changes for you.
I think that'll help people feel better, because while you're the one that set up mine, if I had to go and do this now, I think I'd be better equipped to just pick something simple like that, right? Like something easy, not getting too complex. Although there are ways that you can make it complex for yourself, I'm sure.
Yeah, you do not need to overcomplicate this. The biggest win is contributing consistently.
There's one more thing that comes when you set this up. It always asks if you want to choose between a Roth or traditional. I still have no idea what this means. I just know that I have these. What are the difference between these two?
This is actually something newer. We've had for a while a Roth IRA, but a Roth 401k is actually a newer development, and it is something that you can take advantage of. The two types of accounts for 401ks would be a traditional 401k and a Roth 401k. And the traditional 401k, you are getting a tax break now. The money goes in before taxes, which lowers your taxable income today, but you will pay taxes when you take it out in retirement. A Roth 401k, you're paying taxes now. So you pay taxes before it goes into the retirement, but your money grows tax-free, and you will not pay taxes when you withdraw it later. The question is, do you want the tax break now, or do you want it later?
You tell me, because I don't know.
I personally am a fan of Roth, because to me, I think about a traditional account, and that is essentially a joint investment account with the government. Because at some point, you will try taking money out of that account, and you will not get all the money that you're trying to take out. You will have to share that money. So for me personally, if you can afford to not have the tax break today, I would push it off. Another way to think about it is, would you rather pay taxes on whatever the contribution is today? So whether it's $100 a paycheck today, you're paying taxes on that. Or would you rather pay taxes on an account that has $100,000 in it?
It's going to feel a lot heavier coming out of $100,000.
Yeah. And you don't have to get this perfect. So you can, with an employer match, their contribution is always going to go into the traditional. So regardless, if you end up choosing Roth, you will have some mix of traditional and Roth in your retirement. And that's okay. Again, back to keep it really simple. Investing and getting your employer match is the number one priority. Do not overcomplicate it. If you're like, I have no idea. Do I need the tax break now or later? Just go with one of them. If you're really tight on money today, which I know many people are, just go with traditional. Don't take the burden on of paying more in taxes and having to pay that full $100 out of your paycheck versus the 70 or 80.
Yeah.
And later down the road, when you're in a better financial position, you can move to Roth.
Pretty sure I've just been overcomplicating this all the time. We'll have to get into another episode about IRAs and stuff because I think you have, I'm not even going to say it because it's going to complicate the conversation. Let's stick with this conversation before we go down that rabbit hole. But okay, does this actually make a difference long term? Are we talking about a small amount of money, a large amount of money? What does this look like for us when we actually retire?
Yeah. So I love this question because I love taking that 10,000 foot view of what does this look like? Let's make a real example. So let's assume you have a $60,000 annual salary and you are contributing 5% because that's what the employer matches. So every year you're contributing $3,000 a year. The employer is contributing $3,000. Total invested for the year is $6,000. Let's assume you are getting an 8% return on the money that's invested. Now, if you had started this 5% employer matching contribution when you were 20, and now you are ready to retire at 65, your total contributions would be $270,000. You would end up with $1.9 million just sticking to that $3,000 a year out of your own money.
If you're sitting here thinking to yourself, I'm not 20. Let's break this down though, right? $3,000 a year isn't close to that max contribution. So there is still room to catch up to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you started at 30 with the same assumptions, you're still ending up with around 920,000. And that is, like you said, that's just assuming a $3,000 a year contribution. You can definitely increase it and you can definitely catch up. I will say time makes it a lot easier because look at the numbers that I just gave, but that doesn't mean if you're older, you should just be like, I shouldn't start, because retiring with any money in your retirement account is better than $0 in your retirement account.
Yeah, I was going to say, just start now. I can't elaborate that or express that more. If you feel like it's too late, it's not. Start now. I can't believe the difference in that 10-year gap, right? It cuts half of the income out.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you're listening to this and you have a child, maybe you're in that older category and you are working extra hard today to do that catch up, and you have an adult child that is about to start a new job or get into a career, this is great advice to give to them. Because one, they're probably coming off a minimum wage job, part-time job, some retail job, maybe working in a restaurant, and moving to a salaried position. That is the best time to start contributions, because moving from minimum wage to a salary, that's a huge transition. And if you take out 5%, that child of yours is not even going to notice that. They're just going to be so excited they have this steady new big girl, big boy job that they're getting paid from. If you're a parent out there, this is something to definitely implement and help your child get set up, because they could be that 20-year-old that is ending up with, they will likely have over $2 million, because I'm sure at some point they're going to increase their contributions.
I'd like to touch on people that are potentially a little older listening to this. And I say that very loosely because let's say middle-aged. Let's say someone in their 40s, right? Remember that there's a listener question that came in that they were just starting in their late 40s. They felt like they missed a window. Is it even worth starting now? What does this look like for them?
This is probably a common question, and probably I would say a lot of people listening to this are sitting there thinking like, I'm not 20, I'm not 30, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s. Is it worth starting now? Let's first talk about the emotional side of this. Let's remove the shame, because starting late is still better than not starting at all. The best day to start may have been years ago, but the second best day to start is today. Get the match first. This is still your top priority. If you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and you're struggling with debt, you have not achieved the first 3 or 4 steps that we've been talking about, get the match. And then increase gradually and use those catch-up contributions. If you are 50 and maybe you are in a better position, maybe you don't have debt, but you just have never started saving for retirement, use those plus $8,000 catch-up contributions. And it's not about catching up, it's about moving forward. It's about getting to retirement with money in your retirement. Let's say the person that wrote in who's 40, we take those same numbers. I like using the low numbers because it still shows you a difference can be made. If we say you're going to overnight start investing $30,000 a year in your 401k, to a lot of people that sounds crazy. So let's say you're starting at 40, you still have 25 years to invest. Really 27 years, because that is the new retirement age is 67. But let's say 25 for easy math. You, with the $3,000 a year and the employer match, you're contributing about $150K in total. You will still end up with $400,000 in your retirement account. That is not nothing. That is not no money when you retire.
It's enough for maybe a little beach apartment.
Yes, that could be, but I wouldn't recommend buying a second house when you retire with your $400,000 of retirement.
All right, take me into for a 50-year-old.
For a 50-year-old, you can still save. Invest for 15 years, you'll contribute about $90,000 and you'll end up with $160,000. For somebody that has $0, I would much rather have $160K as a security.
So many people think that they're behind, but really, guys, we're just getting started. If you do not have a 401k set up and your employer offers one, get it set up. If you're a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, stay-at-home parent, whatever your situation is, and your significant other has a retirement set up, get them to set it up, especially if there's an employer match.
Yes.
Free money on the table, just wanting to be taken.
Momentum matters more than timing, and the time is now.
The time is now. All right, I'm going to check my 401k after this episode to see where it's at. I'm going to check Leah's too. See what road we're going down. Your homework is to check your 401k, increase it if you need to, all the things. Alex, what are some closing thoughts?
I'm on board, Becky. If your employer offers a match, make sure you are getting every dollar of it.
And that is all she wrote, folks. Don't forget, if you would like to join our wallet therapy live session, I believe it's going to be May 16th. Did we decide? May 14th. May 14th at 6 p.m. If you haven't already join us on Patreon, patreon.com/Becky Hader. And come join us in wallet therapy. Live sessions, you can ask Alex all the questions you want. It's like direct access to a financial coach for really low cost. Anyway, do your homework, and we will see you back here in 2 Thursdays from now. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.